Good morning, compassionate souls. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at, compassionate souls. I'm Dr. Barb Tremlett, and I live on the island of Sint Maarten. And I can tell you sometimes it's not easy here. Um, Between the technology, the electricity going out just about every day for anywhere from 10 minutes to 2 hours or 10 hours, whatever they decide. Internet issues. Um, wow, we got it all. So I had so many things planned, and I planned on teaching a class this morning on why forgiveness. And it was part of God's plan, I guess, for this to continue to be a little bit of a SHIT show. So I'm going to tell you now that I'm trying to go through forgiveness on a regular basis to whatever powers that be, that it's not going slowly. But today I am going to give this class on why forgiveness. And as soon as we get the energy up to put it on YouTube, I'm going to do so, because I will not allow whatever these forces are stopping me to stop me anymore. And if that means I have to record it on my cell phone rather than my expensive studio equipment, then that's what I'm going to do. So welcome to the Compassionate series that I love to talk about, being a compassionate soul. This one isn't part of a particular series of the Compassionate Listener or the Compassionate Warrior, but this is about self-compassion. This is about you. So this class is called Why Forgive. You know, we talk about different things in the world, about the nuances of why, how to forgive, and, the person, and forgive them and letting go. I get that, but why forgive is way deeper. It's a way deeper. And so why forgive? It's important to understand this is your movie. You are a soul living in a human body, a human existence on this earth right now in your little universe, and you're learning. So this is your movie. This is your dream. This is how you get to decide how it's going to unfold. You get to be the producer. You get to decide the characters. You get to decide the storyline. You get to decide everything. You get to decide how this movie goes. I believe a lot of us were in a movie and we were puppets for a long time in ways we didn't know. And we're beginning to wake up and say, I want my movie to go differently. And you have every right and obligation to do that. So this class is for anybody and everybody, okay? So why forgive? The number one reason why you should forgive is because you deserve it. You deserve to have a beautiful life. It needs to be all about you. It is all about you because it's your movie. It's your vibration. It's your energy. It's your shine. It's how you shine in the world. And it's about the way you show up in the world and how you want the world to be. How you want to be in the world. You are a magical creator, and you're part of this whole dance. So as we know, it's not always easy. Not always easy. There's a lot going on in the world. But if you want this great existence, if you want this freedom and this peace, and you want this great movie to go smoothly, it is mandatory that you learn how to forgive. Okay? But it's even important in a higher vibrational sense to me to know why. I'm a little kid. You tell me I have to do something, fine. I can do it, but I can do it much better if you tell me why. So we want to forgive our friends, our family, our community. This is a hard one, but we want to forgive the broken systems and those that broke it. Okay? And those that instantly worked in the broken systems and hurt people. We want to forgive our enemies. But most of all the things we want to do, we want to forgive ourselves for the bad decisions we've made, the bad choices, or maybe not trying hard or working hard enough. We want to forgive ourselves. We've got to forgive ourselves because we fell for it. We fell for it. When you came to this world, your memory banks were wiped out. Your brainwashing has been on earth long before your birth, and you were totally innocent when you came here. You were totally innocent. You had no clue, but until now. Because I'm one of those people that's going to be right out there with you and say, you got to be waking up now. You got to be waking up now. So until now, yes, you were innocent. You didn't know, but you can't say that anymore. It's time to wake up. We've got to forgive all of those that put us down, all of those that put us in this position. We have to move on. And once we forgive, it releases the vibration deep down inside of us that's holding us back. There is a vibration with lack of forgiveness. It's a negative vibration. It holds us back. So Then we look at, well, what makes you feel free, makes you feel flowing, sensual? What makes you feel just sensual to the needs of the world? What's going on? What makes you feel alive? For me, it's dancing, singing, laughter. Laughter is a very important thing. It's really good for the heart and the soul. Maybe storytelling, being in nature, meditation, being on open water, helping others. A lot of us really get a thrill out of helping others because it's one of the reasons we came here. But it's your movie, and most people think that they have to follow the guidelines put in front of them, and that's not true. And if there's one thing I hope that we can begin to see as all of this show starts to truly unfold in front of all of us, we need to be awake now, and we need to be able to let go of others' expectations on us. So how do you stay free, flowing, and untethered? I love the word untethered, by the way. How do you stay in the groove? My friend Paula back in New Hampshire would always use the word groovy. Groovy, man. So I love that word. So how do you continue your journey in your ascension without letting someone stop your movie or your dream? How do you continue to do your work without those little buggers coming and knocking on you and giving you a hard time? How do you stay in that high space and work on your dream? So when you're living in the 3D world, it's not as easy. I can say that. It's a lower vibrational life, and some people say, oh, that's the way it's always been, that's the way it'll always be. First of all, I understand the statement from a certain perspective, but I don't agree with the statement. It hasn't always been this way, and it doesn't always have to go this way. The dark forces have made it this way, and we fell into the trap and we accepted it. But now that we're waking up and realizing, I don't want that in my life, we have to understand it hasn't always been that way. It's only been the last 40 to 50 years it's been that way. So when somebody also insults us or brings us down, we have another storm coming by, he or she maybe didn't mean it. Or you say you defend someone when they talk bad to you, or you just even feel like I can't change it. It happened. It is what it is. I can't change it. That's not true. Because when we go back and we nip the bud of the vibration and we do the forgiveness, we do change it. I asked them to stop, but they didn't. So we're continuing to allow ourselves to blame someone. Or maybe you let abuse sneak in and you didn't even realize that abuse was there. So how do we forgive those that have offended us? How do we just let go of all these things and just look at it from the perspective of how do we fix it? How do we fix it, nip it, and let it go? So like roots in a tree, if the roots aren't watched, they slowly grow and take hold. And unless they're observed in many cases and controlled, there's a problem. I'll give an example of that. I live in a beautiful house here in Sint Maarten in the Caribbean. And all of the toilet systems were backing up. And I was told all these things, well, you do this and you do that. And I'm like, oh, that's so not true. I live in this big mansion by myself. There's no way I blocked all those toilets and sinks up. So come to find out, a root, not just a root, but a root from a tree had grown in and blocked big PVC pipes, 4 feet long. And the interesting thing about that is the tree had been cut down years ago, but the roots were still growing in there and causing trouble. So roots can go if they're not controlled, and they can cause trouble everywhere. Roots are not controlled. They condone the behavior. They still condone abuse, repetitive things happen over and over again, and others' words can still sting you. Even if you cut the tree down, even if you don't see them anymore, the abuses that happened can still begin to affect you. There's physical, mental, and emotional abuse. And if you have low boundaries or low standards of boundaries because you don't want to be alone, or you have a hard time drawing a line, that also, it can be a form of something that has to be let go of because you allowed the abuse. Though it may not feel like it, and it may feel really hard to hear that, it can be true. And also emotional, painful words. When people talk down to you, call you names, or treat you less than, and you allow it, that's allowing those roots to get deeper in you. And we have to be able to nip those off. So the list goes on and on and on. But we want to talk about why forgive and how it frees us. It can help you. So once we go through why forgiveness, which is the program here, it can help free you from control of a person who has harmed you. Sometimes forgiveness might even lead to feelings of understanding, empathy, and compassion for the one that hurt you. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. or excusing the harm done to you. Why forgiveness is the key. Forgiveness is essential to releasing fear and living in peace. Forgiveness is the single most important thing that you can do to create a life of love and happiness. And without it, you're destined to live in hurt, anger, fear, maybe in an upset. And even even in the Bible, which I'm not a Bible quoter in general, but why forgive? And because Jesus showed us the way, Jesus was falsely accused, arrested, tortured, and then crucified. But as he hung on the cross, what did he say? Forgive them, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they're doing. Most of the time when people are hurting us, they don't know what they're doing. It's either rote routine, it's the habit that they're in. Maybe they had a misunderstanding. Maybe they're having a bad day, and they'll say something to hurt you. And most normal human beings are not gonna purposely hurt you. So they're in some kind of dilemma where they're not looking at your needs or what you need. So it's important to just say, we need to forgive them, because they really don't know what they're doing. Because if they did, they wouldn't do it. Or if they still would, then that's another reason why we need to let go, because we don't want to participate with them. So going through a negative experience can cause a long-term trauma, for sure. And a person may benefit from letting go and accepting what has happened, but letting go does not erase what the person did. But forgiveness can lead to an inner peace from the lack of emotional within. So once the negative emotion is clipped away from the inside, it's easier to move forward. So the hard part, if you're in a 3D world, as many people are holding on just for justification. Well, he did this to me, so I want to do this back to him. I want revenge. They stay in the same vibration because it actually feels normal to be upset. Some people get so used to being upset all the time, like that's their norm. But vague boundaries lead to pain again. So we want to make sure, if we're living in a world where, I want to forgive you, I don't want to do this anymore, then we had to put up a boundary so we don't allow it anymore. And for a lot of people, and I know I've been through this too, being overly nice makes you fall victim again. So addictions to pain, a lot of people have addiction. I mean, who wants to admit that maybe they're addicted to pain? Nobody wants to admit that. So maybe the drama, the self-abuse, I'm going to fix them, or maybe you're stuck in the pity party. Oh, he did this again. What am I going to do? Like, some people really do like that whiny pity party because they get the sympathy they're looking for. And using empathy to take another person's pain away and live for them. Oh, she was so hurt, so I'm going to be hurt too. It's like, no. Just because somebody else is having a bad day doesn't mean you need to take on their bad day. That's just not acceptable. And some people actually get a sick high off emotional pain. I have some examples, but I'm not going to use them due to confidentiality. But I've seen some really sad things lately of people taking their frustrations out and saying things that are very inappropriate in large group settings. We'll put it that way. So differing versions of narcissism also play a key role to this. We try to stay away from the whole narcissism thing because, quite frankly, it's ad nauseum. Anybody can study that right now. But I want you to know that when you are growing in, now I want you to hear this word clearly, when you are growing in dis-ease, means your body's not at ease. It means your body's not comfortable, your body's not happy. And when your body's not happy, it's starting to put coatings of energy around it, like, ooh, that doesn't fit. So when your body is no longer at ease and flowing, then it begins to create an issue that can be magnified. So the negative consequences for not giving someone that someone that's hurt you, it's been documented in studies that shows that you can lead to emotional pain of anger, hurt, resentment, bitterness, and so on. And the consequences can actually create health issues, affect relationships, and stop us from experiencing the freedom that forgiveness enables. And I can say this, I was in a bad relationship for the last few years, and about a year ago finally migrated further away. But I became very ill for a while, and it was specifically because I allowed the abuse for so long. And then when I was trying to step out of the abuse, I had a sadness, and that sadness and loneliness is what caused the dis-ease in my body. And it took a while for me to accept that. But once I accepted it, and it was a narcissist, by the way, but once I accepted that and was able to kind of step back and forgive the relationship, forgive the abuse, forgive the narcissist and what he was doing. But I had to forgive me. I had to forgive me more than anybody because I put up with it. Like, you do better than this. What are you doing? So, yeah, to get back and just my own forgiveness. So, from a metaphysical point of view, everything is vibration. Everything vibrates at a specific frequency. And if you have anger, and then you have the frequency of anger, and you're holding it and you're amplifying it, like anger, 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 and you're amplifying it, the longer you hold it, the longer you play with it, you feel it, you talk about it, you feel it some more, you keep it alive, you talk about it, you talk to your friends, the more you keep this vibration moving, the more intense the vibration gets. The same hurt feeling manifests into dis-ease, and if it continues, can bring illness or disturbance even into the purest healthy body there is. Emotional dis-ease is what we call it, because we're kind of affecting the body. So it starts little, it gets bigger, 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 and then it gets to the point of its dis-ease or illness. But here's the beautiful thing: you created it. I know some people don't want to believe they created it, but you created it by slowly accepting it, talking about it, feeling it, being a part of it. You kept doing that. But here, the beautiful thing is, you can also go the opposite direction. And I think a lot of people that get to the point of a diagnosis of something, oh, we got to have it now. It's not going to work. We got to cut it out, meaning physically cut out. But if you don't get rid of the original reason that caused the issue in the first place, the unease in the body, you got to get rid of that little thing. Otherwise, that whole issue can start all over again. And if not in that part of the body, maybe another part of the body. So we really have to look at, if not addressed, the dis-ease in the body grows and manifests an illness or a disturbance of health, right? So remember, it's all about the roots. It's all about the roots. So holding someone else's energy in your body helps no one. Now, there's a whole class I teach on sympathy, empathy, and compassion that helps spread these things apart and makes a little more understanding. But understanding the offender can assist in the forgiving process. How did they become this person that can hurt other people? I think it's important to forgive the offender. So how did they become an offender? Were they abused? Were they abandoned? Were they made to feel less than or have to fight for everything in their life? Some people had to, at 4 or 5 years old, they went through some real abuses and they're affected for the rest of their life. And what happened to them when they were small? Because that's where a lot of this stuff comes from, especially in the N category, the narcissism category. So learning their story can help us help you understand how they became this person who hurts other people. How did they come this way, and the way that they lived in the world, and how they had to live their life to make it work. And now remember, this is not a get out of jail card. This is not a free pass. This is not about letting them being okay at what they did, but it is to help you understand how they use this as a survival technique to assist them. So they're using it as a technique to assist. So you need to use that same technique to assist you in forgiveness. So were they so hurt during childhood that their only way to survive was to become a narcissist, maybe? That is a survival technique. I think we all get at this point. It's a survival technique, a survival process for abused, weak, and abandoned. It's linked to a lot of environmental parent-child issues growing up, or too much adoration. But whatever how they got to that position, maybe abuse or abandonment, we still have to understand. I have forgiveness for them because they came in, it's not a judgment, but there's a brokenness in them that they don't get it, don't understand, a brokenness that they have no feeling. I want to forgive that piece of them. I'm not giving them a get out of jail card. I'm not. We want to be protective going forward, but we want to understand where it came from so we can let it go. So forgiveness and trust are two separate concepts, okay? Forgiveness involves letting go of anger, resentment towards someone who has wronged you, while trust involves believing in someone's reliability and integrity. It is possible to forgive someone without fully trusting them again. And in most cases, I can understand where you don't want to be hurt again. You keep your wall up. We have a whole class on boundaries that we talk about. But to forgive does not mean you still have the same space in your life. It may even be time to say goodbye. And for some of us, the best thing we can do is say goodbye. But even in saying goodbye, you still have to go through the forgiveness process. So one of the hardest persons to forgive is yourself. Like I said earlier, you are so hurt, yet you realize that you are the one who agreed to the experience. You are the one who allowed it to happen. So no matter how innocently you participated by allowing it to happen. Now, here's the beautiful thing from the from the 5D side, of how to forgive. The search for peace clearly directs us into forgiving. We have to forgive in order to have full peace. We realize holding on to others' person's low vibration only lowers ours, and we are too valuable to let that happen, ourselves and our humanity. We've got to keep the vibration up, and we can't keep the vibration up if we're going over and over and over the things we went through. So I think of it, it's like a weight loss program. You would not carry around another human being who's abusing you or telling bad things about you, right? So I will not carry around another human who is abusing me or telling me bad things about myself. I want to let go of that weight, or I want to find a way to start the transition out. So basically, I'm worth it. It's not all fast, but it's worth the journey. And I just feel like once you get past that certain level and wow, I did it. I have no upset about this anymore. It's such an amazing feeling to know that you walked through that process all by yourself. And I got to remind you, you are your biggest fan. You are the star of your movie, and you play your part the best you can, right? So if you're playing the part the best you can, you get excited about when you learn how to get through these processes. So unconditional love is known as affection without limitations, or love without conditions. That's unconditional love. The term is sometimes associated with other terms such as true altruism or complete love. But the first person you got to start with unconditional love is you. You've got to unconditionally love you. Then move on to family, friends, neighbors, community, and the world. But this is about you. And the piece that makes it a little easier is just remembering the word boundaries. And boundaries show where one thing ends and another thing begins. Boundaries is in a relationship are kind of like they help each person figure out where one person ends and the other person begins. The short is boundaries help you define what you are comfortable with and how you would like to be treated by others. So sometimes even in relationships, the boundaries change. What you would tolerate at one time, you wouldn't in the future. So it's really important as setting boundaries to know the word no. No, I can't do that. We talked about in a class the other night. I would love to help you with that, but no, I couldn't possibly do that. And just leave it there. No. So it's important. So now let's talk about just quickly, how do you explain your boundaries? Be calm, firm, clear about what you need. You've got to be tough here. Have clear, reasonable consequences for crossing the boundary. If someone has a habit of talking over you. So this just happened yesterday also. I'm trying to explain something and I'm getting talked over and over again. And I finally said, I want to have a conversation with you, but if you continue to talk over me, I'm not going to be speaking until you're done and you tell me it's my turn. And then all of a sudden it was my turn. So, like I said, I need you to allow me to talk without interrupting me. And if you need to do that, then I'm going to have to end the conversation. And this is what I need from you. This is what I'm able to offer you. You need to find your words because nobody else is going to do this for you. Man, that was the hardest part, is realizing nobody's going to save me. I got to get up. I got to do it myself. I got to find my words. I got to represent myself. I got to put my own boundaries up. This growing up thing is crazy. So you need to find your own words. But then again, just like a movie, sometimes we need to have the script ready. But if it feels good, or doesn't feel good, we can improvise. It's your movie. There's nothing wrong with practicing. So I talk to the students about practicing. No, I really couldn't possibly do that. Like, we practice it. But in the moment, we might improvise, right? So we got some people like, Robin, what was his name? Robin Williams, that improvised all the time. Dana Carvey, good improviser. So we've got some actors out there that show us like, yeah, I've got a script. I'm prepared. But I might be able to improvise a little just to make it feel good. And if somebody is pushing your boundaries, you just got to stay strong, stay assertive, stay within your boundaries you have set. Because if you don't keep your boundaries, the other person's certainly not going to worry about it. And when we're releasing fears, we release them one vibration at a time. Okay, fears are not always easy to just say, oh, I'm not going to be afraid anymore. We have to really go through a process of releasing fears. So some common fears about setting the boundaries, okay, because we do have fears. Well, if I set the boundary, they won't talk to me anymore. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they'll have respect for you because you decided to finally show them where you will not tolerate it anymore. So we have a fear of making people angry. We have fears of disappointing other people by not doing what they want us to do. We have fears of being seen as difficult or selfish. Fears of being mean. And we have fears of ruining relationships. And I got to be honest with you, my close circle is very small. But I know that when you don't put up with stuff anymore, you have less and less time to deal with stuff. Sometimes that circle does get smaller, but it's okay. I don't have any fear of being honest with people. But what I find is when I'm honest with people, and we talk about these things, we actually have a good relationship, or that relationship isn't really meant to be that close. And there's one thing I've learned as an adult. I don't need to be in a relationship with you if you abuse me, even if you're related to me. So good and bad of that, I'm sure. But those are fears that we can let go of. But remember the other side now, we got kindness. We are so kind. Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I know most of the people that listen to my classes and programs are very kind. And when you're a kind person, it's easy for you to take advantage of. So you have to set your kindness boundaries, right? You got to keep focused on your feelings and your needs. You got to be direct. You got to say things specifically. When you do this, I feel hurt because blah, blah. So you need to use a neutral tone. No drama at all, and choose the right time. If somebody's in the middle of a phone call or going between meetings, it's not the right time to talk to them about, I need to set some boundaries with you. we need to do it at the right time. And consider the other person's needs. And if you're in a relationship, I'm sure you need to consider it from the other person's point of view. But maybe the other person's needs are, maybe they're in the middle of a crisis, and maybe this is just a temporary thing, and you even see it happening. Because I know when we've been under a lot of stress here on the island and a lot of bad things happening, sometimes I get a little snappy, and then I like, oh my gosh, where did that come from? And I try to go back and fix it. So sometimes maybe the person's needs are different at different times, and it's just a temporary issue you're dealing with. But kindness is such an important thing. And wow. So part of this class is supposed to be on narcissistic personality, but I am not going to cover that. We covered that ad nauseum on so many different programs and ways, and I just don't feel it's important. You can do your research somewhere else. But what I am going to talk about really quickly is the difference between a 3D and a 5D life. Okay? If you're living a 3D life, you're going to feel the average vibration is lower. You're going to have vague boundaries, which are going to lead to more abuse and more abandonment. And those things they're like normal. They're not even recognized. They're just a part of the lifestyle. And when you're looking at a 3D life or living in a 3D life, you're looking for resolution outside yourself. You're not in your own power. You're looking, and we call this, you're more motivated than inspired. You condone repetitive abuses, and you don't see them when you're living in this more closed down 3D issue. There are a lot of narcissists in this category of 3D versus 5D. There's more innocence in the 3D. That's why a lot of more abuses happen. And naive participation without knowledge. I think a lot of people that are in the 3D also have some of the people that have gone through a lot of stuff right now because they believe that the world's going to get better, or this is the way it's always been. They're participating without even realizing they're participating, and it's really sad to watch. So lower vibrations are more easily accepted. Oh well, that's what we have to do. Then that's what we have to do. A lot of people that are in that 3D also, they condone very quickly. Oh, it's okay, I'll do that, or I'll put on that. Well, I'm not even going to go into that category. But they go along with what they're told rather than what they believe, know, or understand, and have a knowingness of. So it's kind of, it's a low vibrational, easy way out. I'll just accept it because I don't want to cause any trouble. So not understanding the power 3D people don't understand the power that they hold as a creator. And if there's one thing I love sharing with people, is showing you how to be your own magical creator. And then we have the 5D, 5D people that are going toward this new world of energy and trying to understand. These are your hippies, your tree huggers, your land loving people that go out there and make love, not war. The hippies like myself. Like we have that vibration where we're always trying to seek the highest love vibration. So the average vibration is higher when you're more this 5D concept. You're more sensitive to intuition, sight, touch, sound. You're always looking for peace. We're not looking for drama. The drama can go somewhere else. We just want peace in our lives. We all want to make love, not war. Let's all get along. We have strong boundaries and protections, so we're not taken advantage of. We take responsibility for the ways that we treat each other, and we take responsibility for the way we are treated, because we need to take our boundaries and protections and do that. But we're not out there we're not out there fixing people. We're not fixing other people's problems. We live in compassion, not sympathy, or we live understanding, using some empathy, but we don't live in empathy, owning other people's emotions. We're not here to live other people's emotions. We're here to experience our life in the fullest way possible. And that means feeling our own emotions, not other people's. And not taking responsibility for the emotions of others. So if you call me and you say, my girlfriend did this and I'm so mad, and you're having drama, I'm going to listen to you as a compassionate listener, and I'm going to say, okay, and then how did that make you feel? Or what would you like to do differently? So I'm going to listen to you and let you vent and let you get it off your shoulders, but I'm not going to get upset at your girlfriend. I'm not going to take on any of the energy. I don't take on your responsibility of your emotions. It's not my job. So when we're teaching compassionate listening, we're really careful on these things, these little nuances. But also when you're in a 5D, you have a knowingness. There's a knowing that forgiving is and releasing of a lower emotional vibration on other human. So if I'm releasing and forgiving you for something you did to me, it actually makes you feel better too. I just watched a video where a man had killed some teenagers, and some of the moms were, vile in what they were saying to him while he was sitting there at judgment. But one of the fathers said, that I forgive you for what you did. And the guy who did the killing actually started crying, because forgiveness is huge. So the father could move on more easily by doing the forgiveness. The man who took the life, he will be able to feel differently because he knows he's forgiven. I'm not saying it's right, but forgiveness is about breaking that vibrational connection so you don't have to deal with it. And when you're in 5D, you're looking to help others, right? We're looking to help others. We're not looking to control them. And I think there's a little bit of a misunderstanding that I'm here to help you, but not to control you. I'm not here to fix you. I'm not here to save you. I'm here to help you. And if you need some guidance, I would love to, help you with some of that. But I'm not here to take care of everything or to take control of you. Also, empathy without owning the other person's emotion cannot be overstated enough. And then, of course, understanding that we create our own reality. So if we're going to focus on all negativity, we're going to get more negativity. If we focus on more positivity, we'll get more positivity. Sometimes the situations out there are not easy, they're not pretty, but we still try to keep that vibrational energy. And prayer or request of prayer, whether you call it a prayer or a request, there's sayings that I have that I use on a regular basis. I pray and request that all things known and unknown, negative images, unhealthy beliefs, and destructive cellular memories are released. You can create your own prayer, your own request. Or there's another one that I have, and again, this is not specifically to be religious, it is spiritual, but this is a part of my belief system, and we each can believe what we want. But may the Sacred Heart of Jesus Christ be adored, glorified, loved, and protected. Watch over us in times of need and protect us from our enemies, the seen and unseen, the small and the large, the known and the unknown, the accidental and purposeful, knowing that he can watch over us more than we can desire or imagine. Now, the reason that that's such a powerful thought is, listen to the words of protect us from our enemies, right? Seen and unseen, small and large, known and unknown, accidental on purpose. think about all these different ways that people offend us, that people hurt us. And we don't even think about that on a daily basis. So we let these little things creep in unless we have really strong, powerful boundaries. And most of us are so busy loving and being kind, we don't keep those boundaries up with everybody. Another technique that I love sharing, and I've shared it just in so many different places, the Hawaiian Ho'oponopono. There's a great amount of people that share this practice, and I really believe in using it and sharing it. There's a belief that if you can take the energies between you and cut them and release them, that you go in your way and they go in their way. But sometimes the vibrations are not positive between you and you don't even know what it is, right? So the Ho'oponopono prayer is to release, and it goes like this. Please forgive me. I am sorry. I love you. Thank you. Please forgive me. I am sorry. I love you. Thank you. And I don't even always say it in the same order, but there was a person who worked in a jail, and he was a psychologist, and he would go to work every day, and in like, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, something like that, the management of the inmates came and said, okay, you're doing a really good job with these guys, and we really appreciate what you're doing. Can you let us know a little bit about your techniques? And he said, well, I do the prayer. I open up their records and I do the prayer. Please forgive me. I am sorry. I love you. Thank you. Ho'oponopono over their records every day. And I think about the peacefulness for them. And then I close the record. And they're like, yes, that's great. But what about the counseling technique? Because all these men have calmed down. All these men have gotten better. They're having relationships now with the other inmates. And he said, I have never met any of them in person. I only come in and I do Ho'oponopono on their records, releasing any energies. And so that was so powerful. So I've been using this in my life, along with people that I don't get to see, or that have been taken from my life because my belief systems are different than theirs. And I've been practicing this, hoping that maybe this will also change some of those things. And I've seen little inklings, you know. So Ho'oponopono is very well known. I highly encourage that. And imagine we're being raised in a 5D world. Well, can you imagine, like, if we were being raised in a 5D world, we'd wake up to love. We'd enjoy love all day long. Everything you hear would be the truth, you know, as you know it. I mean, there might be some things you think you know, but you don't. But there would be a world that accepts you as you. You don't have to put on makeup. You don't have to fancy your hair. You don't have to wear name brand clothes, which is all bullshit anyway. Whoopsie, not supposed to say that. You would wake up to feel like you want to serve others because it just makes you happy. It makes you happy to make other people happy. It just feels good to serve. There would be no more black versus white. There would no he versus she. It just would be this amazing flow of energy. And forgiveness in a weight loss program allows us to vibrate, to fly high. I think that's kind of a funny statement somebody wrote me. But when you're going through this imagination of what a 5D world would be like, I really do look at Star Trek sometimes, and I really do look at some of their shows and go, oh yeah, everybody's just kind of walking around in the little white robes. You know, what are you doing today? We're going to go to the park. I love the information of this because when I watch Star Trek, I keep thinking, that's what we're aiming for. That's what we want to do. So I get excited about it. But why forgive? Really, ultimately, why forgive? It's healthy. It gives you peace. There's a fairness about it. There's love. It's also taking responsibility, especially when you're forgiving yourself. It's making the world a better place. And, you know, it's just the right thing to do. Forgiveness is important to do. And this is why of the forgiveness. There are other videos that show the techniques and tools, which we just briefly touched on some of them. But the why is important. It's your movie, your joy, your happiness. You get to decide how you're going to roll in this. And I just send lots of energy into hoping that you got something out of this today. It's your life. It's your energy. And you are not a victim. So as you walk from the 3D to the 5D or wherever you are to this higher vibration of life, I encourage you to enjoy it and understand it's your movie. You get to decide how happy you want to be. So this is Soul Solutions SXM. I am Dr. Barb Tremlett from Sint Maarten in the Caribbean, and I look forward to talking with you again soon. And I hope that you liked this video and you can give some feedback. We did it during a crisis of no internet, no electricity keeps going out, and during a storm, because I couldn't wait to put the show out. So thank you very much. Love and light, my friends. And hopefully we'll see you in another video. Thank you. Bye.